Well, and of continuing the theme of us not being on topic,
Hey,
here is
hey.
another link I'm sending Justin that he has not seen and that we're going to quickly analyze.
All right, we're gonna take a look at this. And let me just share my screen here so we can
We're going to go
see
down the rabbit hole here.
what kind of goodies you have for us today. All right, from Levels IO
Which, if you don't
on
know,
Twitter.
he's a remote guy who runs a bunch of different products, all of them making 30 to 70K a month. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah. So look at his sidebar over there. He even says in there. So here he is. He's pulling 200K a month basically by
Yep.
himself remotely. So he's a
Amazing.
fascinating cat, but he is one of those guys who doesn't care about technology. He cares about the product, which happens to be a topic we were just talking about personally. And so he runs things like off of a single PHP file for one of his sites, right? And it's like, no, I don't. It's like it just works, and I make money, right?
Which, by the way, is the point.
Yeah, which I think
As little code as you can make, as little code as you can write, as little thing as you can build to get the stuff.
but to that end, I think I'm talking about the right guy. I look at a lot of different people. But so his point is he likes like simple things, and so like he's saying like this is the death of being able to view source. What they're
Mm.
looking at here is a new layout engine that doesn't use traditional markup. It actually uses the WebGL, which is just a different technology that has a canvas for a UI
Mm-hmm.
engine. And what this does, it's closer to having a video game engine
Yep.
render a website instead of
Yep.
having normal HTML markup. So we can click into the next tweet because this one
Mm.
was only the gateway to this. And you can see this rendering engine really becomes super dynamic with WebGL in a way that it doesn't. And there's all kinds of impacts for this, SEO, et cetera, that are like not great. But this is super fascinating in terms of like what it opens up.
Yep.
Um,
That
and
is really interesting. And by the way, this is not the first time that something like this has been talked about. Several years back, there was a lot of talk about how SVG was going to be the new thing, right? Because as mobile development became more and more popular. And one thing about mobile development is mobile development, for those of you who, I mean, I'm not going to explain all of UI development theory in 90 seconds, but mobile development doesn't use HTML, CSS, and the DOM model, the DOM box model that's used in the browser, right? And so what you do is you position things absolutely. Things don't have a relationship to each other like they do on the web. It's a very different way of building and constructing UIs in mobile. And there was a lot of talk, and this is a continuation of that same talk of, oh, this is probably the way that things end up getting rendered on the web at some point. And this is kind of another take at that using the WebGL stuff.
yes, so it's anyway,
Hmm.
it's really kind of out there, which is why I sent it to you. But if you click on the actual GitHub link, right?
Yeah, let's go take a look at the repo here.
Um,
And this is
it's
for
it's still using React, right?
yeah,
Which is really interesting. And
it is. I wish I could see an example of the implementation so I could just
play with it yourself. Yeah, same.
examples.
But you can't right now, as far as I could tell.
I mean, I can sort of, but not. I would have to. Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks like React code.
Yeah. And so actually, it's a side note. Like one of the beautiful things about React is um, it's learn a pattern and use it anywhere
Mm-hmm.
versus having it tightly coupled.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I just thought it was super interesting. Now that we're looking at it, probably not going to actually turn this one into a video for YouTube, but maybe we will and bore you to death. But for the people who care about it, like this is an interesting thing. And it looks, ironically, like they're going to do Shad CN components
Mm.
and render them via WebGL. So it'd be really interesting to see how this all works out.
Interesting. It will be for sure. The UI layer for the web is going to change very quickly over the next several years. And AI is going to drive a lot of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Really fascinating.